So I got back to Taft's, got into the bed, and didn't sleep very well. I had a million and one different things running through my head. You know, one of them was to what point Joe was making to me. That was quite random, to be honest. He bothered me. He bothered me a lot. There was something about him I didn't like. But I pushed it to one side. Connor and Jenny obviously were in my mind. And so about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, I was tossing and turning and sweating a little bit. And I think because I had slept in the daytime, that 4 hours or so, that sleep had kind of gone off me. I remember Amanda saying that the pool next door, I could use that at any time. So put a pair of shorts on, grabbed a towel, no t-shirt, no sandals. And it was the first time in my life that I had ever walked on sand in my bare feet. And it was amazing. So it was only 15 yards down the steps, turn and in. Now I was at the pool, and there was nobody there. There was no lights on in the little hotel next door. I wasn't going to make any noise. I just sat on the edge, slipped into the pool, and I started swimming. And I was a very good swimmer. I swam in school, but I swam a lot in the pool, in the local pool in Oma, where I grew up, near to where I grew up. I go down there a couple of days a week and swim and go to the weights. I was in good shape. I was 29, 30 years of age. I was very lean, very muscular, and all that was missing was a tan. So I got into the pool. I think I spent about 30 minutes in the pool, diving and swimming back and forward, and yeah, it was really good just to sit on my own. And it was the first time in my life that I had looked up at the sky and just saw stars. There was no clouds. There was very little light on the island. There was a few lampposts. It wasn't like here, you know, in the modern age now, where there's neon lights everywhere and fucking, you know, blinded by lights at every corner, every 50 yards. There's a set of lights, car lights. I looked up at that. I just lay down on the side of the pool, and I looked up, and all I could see was the heavens. All I could see was stars. And the moon was as shiny as anything. It was just like a big silver button in the sky. I'd never seen anything like it. A bit of a breeze. I could hear the palm trees just whistling and rustling. The odd dog barking. No shouting. No cars, no car engines. Nobody fucking burning rubber up and down the streets. Nothing at all. It's absolutely brilliant. And I lay there for about, I don't know, half an hour. And got up, went to the room, showered off, lay on the bed. The lights went out again. Before I knew it, my alarm on my Casio watch went off, and it was 7 o'clock. David told me to be down to his place by 7:30, 8. I was always punctual. I didn't like to be late. I was down at Dave's place at 7:30 on the button. He told me to go around the back this time and into the back door, and not to be knocking on the front door. I went round the back. The back door was already open with a little screen. I went in, and Dave, Dave was fucking standing in the kitchen in his underwear, and his ginger hair was standing on end, and he looked like a 5-year-old school kid waiting to get ready to go to school. He was as grumpy as fuck. He didn't speak, grunted, nodded, pointed to the coffee. And I got a coffee, went out, sat on the deck. He just sat on the couch for a few minutes. I knew Dave was like that. He needed to wake up. So he sat there, he put the TV on. He was watching some shit in Spanish or something, and he's looking through books and all this type of stuff, and going through, I assume, what was the list of divers, and what was going to go on today. So yeah, so about half an hour later, Dave reappears out in his underwear, sitting there. Dave was redhead, so he had a Bertie Bassett licorice also kind of tan up to his forearms. From where his t-shirt was, Dave was kind of reddy brown, and the rest of him was like a bottle of milk. So it was fucking absolutely hilarious to see. He looked at me, looking at him, and he goes, "Shut up. Don't fucking say anything." And I didn't. And after that, he kind of came to. He gave me a big hug, and he says, "Morning, Call." And he goes, "I'm really glad you're here." He says, "I have nobody." He says, he says, "I know loads of people, Call." He says, "But I don't have no friends down here." He says, "I know everybody." And he says, and I don't trust anybody. And he says, "I'm really fucking glad you're here." And give me a big hug. That meant a lot to me. And he says, "I'm going to get ready." He says, "And we'll go down and look at the boat." I didn't realise Dave had a boat, to be honest. I never thought anything of it at all. And so he got ready. He got his shorts on and his military boots and his baseball cap and his watch and his whistle and his t-shirt. He looked like a fucking Navy SEAL. And then we headed down to the dock, which was only about 100 meters away, 150 meters away, to the Belize Yacht Club, which was absolutely gorgeous. And at that particular time, there was no dive center on it. It was just a dock. It was 300 foot long, and Dave's boat was parked in one little bays, and it was Dive Dreams, and it was all white, a couple of blue stripes. Dive Dreams wrote in red, white, and blue. It had a blue canopy, and which you folded down and pulled up, called a little A-frame, and it had two 150 Johnson engines on the back of it. And we went down, we took a checklist, and there was a little Belizean guy down there, and his name was Richie Gomez. And Richie worked for David. Richie was about 5'2", stocky little guy, really nice. Called David boss, and Dave automatically went to speaking Creole with him, and introduced me to Richie. Richie gave me a good handshake, which was really, really important to me, good handshakes. And Dave says, "All right, Carl, you stay with Richie. Richie's going to teach you what to do. Pay attention." He goes, and then jump on the boat with Richie, go gas up. Richie will take you to where the gas station is, go gas up. He says, and when that's all done, he says, Richie will teach you how to put the scuba gear together. He says, for the divers. He goes, and then when that's finished, he goes, "Come back to the house." So that's when I started working the next day. So I spent a couple hours with Richie, who showed me to where to go and get the tanks, the air tanks, because David didn't have any at the time. So he rented them from one of the guys who owned Tropic Air. So we used to have to go down to the filling station. The tanks would be filled for us. Dave had 10 divers that morning, but he got 30 tanks. He always, there was a 2-tank dive, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and possibly a night dive. So there was 3 tanks. So they've got 30 tanks, but he always got extra. So I think Richie got about 35, because sometimes the tanks didn't fill properly, and or the air would not taste clean. And if it didn't taste clean, then it was carbon monoxide, and you could get poisoned and you could get sick or die really quickly. So this is what the stuff that Richie taught me. So we went down, we loaded the boat with 35 tanks, something like this. It went on Dave's account, and then we drove to the gas station, which was back at the dock where we were at the end, and it was run by a little Belizean guy called Clive, who worked for the Belize Yacht Club, and Clive was pretty cool. Rich introduced me, says that Clive would be seeing me a lot from now on, and if I came down for gas, to give me the gas, and Clive just give me a fist bump, because those guys didn't shake hands. It was a fist bump, or it was, a fucking handshake where you grabbed each other's thumbs. And Clive was pretty cool, and so Richie had introduced me to, as the first time as working with him, which was brilliant. And we then went back to the dock, and we unloaded the tanks. Richie had all the scuba gear on the dock. Richie showed me what a BCD was, which was basically a jacket, and a buoyancy control device, and he showed me the regulators and everything, and he showed me how to put this gear together, how to test it, how to test the air, and also how to make weight belts up. So that was what I learned within the first couple of hours with Richie, where to get the tanks, where to gas up, and how to put the gear together. And that was my introduction to basically to scuba diving. As yesterday, the day before, I had passed all my exams and I was ready to rock and roll. So life for me was definitely beginning.